So hello, everyone. Before we kind of officially get started, just a note that today's art chat will be recorded and shared on our YouTube page. So you're welcome to keep your cameras off. I think I've got everybody's cameras off right now. And I'll also ask you to make sure that you stay muted throughout our conversation so that we don't have any background noise. But we will allow some time at the end for questions from the audience. So you'll be welcome to ask any questions at that time, and you can either unmute yourself then or put your questions in the chat for Hector. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and we will get started. Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Julia Jessen, Curator of Collections and Exhibitions at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Art Chat conversation. This program connects to our current exhibition, Mata Ortiz, Ceramics from the Collection of Norman Sherman and Virginia Chambers Sherman, which runs until March 29th of 2026. So you still have a lot of time to see it if you haven't already. It's a wonderful exhibition. We're so grateful to Norman and his family for lending to the exhibition and also for sponsoring this program tonight that we're doing right now. I'm so pleased to be joined today by Hector Gallegos Jr., one of the artists featured in the exhibition. I'm excited to tell you more about Hector and ask him some questions about his art. But first, I wanted to give you a very brief and very simplified overview of Mata Ortiz. And here I'm showing you just a few installation images of the exhibition, just to give you a sense of what it's like. So Mata Ortiz is a town in northern Mexico in Chihuahua. And in the 50s and 60s, people in the area, particularly Juan Quezada, began to experiment with creating ceramics inspired by the traditional and historic pottery fragments of the Casas Grandes culture that they found at the archaeological site of Pequime. As interest in the ceramics they were creating grew, they taught friends and neighbors, a tourist trade blossomed, exhibitions were held, and overall there was an economic as well as artistic revitalization in the community. Today, there are about 300 potters in Mata Ortiz. And today's artists may incorporate or abstract the traditional designs, but they also create new forms and designs that are entirely unique and completely Mata Ortiz. What their artworks usually have in common are thinly walled vessels created with local clay and very finely painted and designed surfaces. Hector Gallegos Jr., who we're speaking with tonight, is a second-generation Mata Ortiz artist. His parents, Hector Gallegos and Graciela Martinez, are also both excellent potters and first taught Hector Jr. the art of pottery. Hector has been recognized at several of the annual pottery competitions in Mata Ortiz, with different awards for his own and collaborative work with his wife, Laura, including the Excellence Award. His work has been displayed in institutions such as the Southwest Museum in Los Angeles, the Museum of Man in San Diego, the National Museum of Folk Art in Mexico City, and national parks in Tucson, Arizona, and San Antonio, Texas. I also want to ask Hector a little later on about his athletics as well. He's also an excellent athlete, competing in multiple sports since middle school, and he was also the state champion in Chihuahua for bodybuilding in his category for 3 years. So tonight, we're so excited to have Hector here with us and to be able to look at some more images of his artwork and really delve in with him and ask him some questions. So Hector, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. So let's get started. And excuse me, I have a little tickle in my throat. I'm wondering if you could start by telling us a little bit about growing up in Mata Ortiz as a second generation artist. What was that like?
Yeah. Okay, Julia. First, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you. Thanks to you. And thanks to the museum. And I wanna make an apologize for my English. It's not very good, but I will try.
It is very good. You're being very
So
downplaying your skills. It's very good.
I will do my best.
That's perfect.
Okay, so growing in Mata Ortiz, growing in pottery, I think I am blessed because I born looking this, looking my father, my mother, and everybody around me when I was growing was working with clay.
Mm.
So when I was 14 years old, I started working with clay. And when I make my first pot, I decide to do this. This is what I want to do. And I'm doing this now for 30 years.
Wow. So right away at 14, you knew that that was what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Was
we
there
are two sisters and one brothers in my family.
Mm.
And my old sister and me still making pottery. The other two brothers, they don't really like it.
Really? Okay. What do they do, if you don't mind me asking?
My young sister, she's a teacher. She teach, and my brother, he's living in the U.S.
Okay, great. I know, as you kind of mentioned, feeling blessed to be in the community that you've grown up in. And I know that your community's history is something that's really important to you. Particularly the story of Juan Quezada and the kind of revitalization of the area. Why is that something that's important to you?
Well, it's important because we are doing what my the old people from this area they was making pottery for many years. So Juan Quesada, he came to Renaissance, the ceramic.
Mm.
So I am also very grateful with Juan for all what we do for this all the town.
Absolutely. Um, and that kind of legacy that you have there, does that impact your work as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. For me, it's very important to continue making this, following the legacy of Juan, of course,
Mm.
and also still making the techniques and using the same materials that the old people was using. Now on what we do now is only try to do like new shapes or new designs,
Mm.
but we respect the same materials and the same techniques. This is very important for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so interesting to see that continuation of technique that's coming through in your work as well. And
Mhm.
um, I'm wondering if you can tell us, and I've got a picture here of a couple of pieces in the exhibition from your mother. Um,
Yeah,
is there anything about your parents' work that has also impacted your work?
yeah. They impact my life.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when I start making pots, my mother, she teach me more than my father. So when I start making the same, like the same designs of my father and the same design of my mother. But during the years, I want to do something different. I don't want to
Mm.
do the same. So I try to do something different, but I still using a little bit design of my father and my mother
Mm.
in my pots. But now my work is very different to my father and my mother.
Yeah.
I want to do something like if the people look a pot, they can say, "Oh, this is by Hector Jr." not by Hector Senior.
That's great. Yeah, so when you started off, you were doing more kind of geometric pieces, sort of like what your mother is doing here?
Geometric and the traditional designs. I think
Okay.
everybody's doing that, doing the traditional designs, but more or less during the second generation potters, we start to making something new.
Absolutely. So learning, would you say that most people as they're learning are doing the very kind of traditional designs and that's what you do first before doing your own thing? Okay, great. And this is probably a good point to have you describe your style to us. How would you describe your style?
Crazy. Eh? Well, I think this is more contemporary style, and a little bit I think is a like more personal style. I try
Mm,
to do my own designs, my own shapes, my own design, but also I try to incorporate a little bit of the old designs in my pots.
mm,
And I am always trying to do innovation, like new shapes.
yeah.
Also, yeah, during the first generation, like my father, like Juan, like my mother, they was doing only like the traditional shape. They was like a little afraid to do something different. So during the second generation, we start making like a new shapes or new designs. Actually, one of the first making new shapes and personal designs was my wife, Laura. Laura and Manolo Rodriguez in the second generation. They start
Yeah.
making new. So this opened the doors for everybody to start to start making something new.
Yeah. And I want to go back actually to the first pot that we looked at here. This is the pot that's in the exhibition.
Uh-huh.
And if I'm understanding right, this is actually a collaborative pot between you and Laura. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, this is a collaboration pod. Like you see the bird, the hummingbird. This
Yeah.
is my one of my old style.
So this is something that you developed.
Yeah. And Laura is in the top, and in the bottom is Laura design, and in the middle is my old style. Another style. And
And
this
and
the idea came from a friend from Tucson. She is a friend for many, many years, and she's a collector. Her name is
mm,
Sue Brinkman, and she asked to Laura and me. She commissioned a pot, and she said, "Oh, but I want a pot make for you and Laura. You need to make me a pot, and but you need to work both in the same pot." So the idea came, and we was trying to thinking how we can do it.
yeah.
One day the idea came, and we do it.
And Laura's really well known for that kind of tiny design, like what we're seeing on this pot, right? These very, very minutely detailed pieces. That's something that she's really well known for, right?
Yeah, because this is her own style. She create this style.
Yeah.
Now this is the Bugarini style, and she also teach her sisters, and it's very similar the style of her sisters.
Yeah. She innovated it and it became something that was actually given that name of the Bugarini style. Yeah. Incredible. And your work, so you often incorporate animal forms, which we see here.
Mhm.
Is that something that you're often drawn to, these forms from the world around you?
Yeah, I like to do the animals in the area,
Mm.
the wildlife area. Yeah, is what I like to do in some pots. But right now I am making like a little more contemporary.
Mm, sure. So as far as your process, as you're working on a pot, could you take me through the steps in your process?
In my process, well, more or less it's the same for everybody. We need go to dig the clay. We need clean the clay. We need start making the pot. We don't use a wheel. It's a old technique. So we made the pot. When we made the pot, we need to wait like a week to be dry. When it's dry, we need sand with different levels of sandpaper. So then we need to polish, then we need to paint, and then we need to fire. This is a low temperature clay, so we fire only one time, and it's in the end.
Hmm. And do you have a favorite part of the process?
Yeah, I like the paint. I think the first is painting, and the second is the shapes.
Mm. So the actual forming of the pot?
Uh-huh. But I don't
Okay.
the sandpaper.
Oh, that's not your favorite.
No, the dirty part.
Sure. And you also do a lot of kind of etching into the surface of your pots, right? Where you're sort of carving into the surface a little bit. Is that something that you've always done?
Yeah, this is right now is what I'm doing more, the carving or scratching.
Okay.
This is my technique, and it's good for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it ends up with beautiful pieces, so it's clearly working. Absolutely.
It is one. It's very similar that the when you are looking in the picture, but this is black.
Oh, sure. Oh, gorgeous. So cool. I know a lot of people, as they come into the exhibition and they're looking at the pots, they're just marveling at everything being done by hand and being done so precisely. And so I'm sure you probably get questions about that a lot, about how you do that, how you're able to keep your lines where you want them. How do you answer that question?
Practice.
Ah, I,
Practice, yeah.
I should have known. I should have known that answer.
Yeah, I think just practice. When I start making my pots, mm, this was very ugly.
Hmm.
But by little, every day, practice, you start making better.
Hmm.
And if you have a little bit of talent, you are okay.
Then you've got it. You're good to go.
And discipline,
Sure.
important. Yeah, discipline. And if you like what you are doing, you will be okay.
Hmm. And there you are with Laura here in one of the shots that you sent me. Um, you two collaborate, and collaboration occurs really frequently in the art of Mata Ortiz. Many different people and families collaborate with each other as they're creating their artwork. For your process, you talked a little bit about how the two of you first started working together, and what kind of prompted that. But what is that collaboration like for you two when you're working on things together?
Well, we collaborate more in painting.
Mm,
Yeah, Laura made something like we call the lines around of the pot because she make very good. Then
yeah.
my carving part, but most of the collaboration is in the painting.
Mm,
So in the end, like my father and my mother, when they start making pots, my mother make the pot and my father paint. But in
yeah.
that time, only my father sing the pot. Only he
Mhm.
put, I don't know why. So when Laura and me start making collaboration pots, we decide to put the name both, Laura and me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we both participate. So now we start doing this. And many of the other potters that are working together, they put the sign both. But in the family, everybody collaborates. You know,
Mhm.
some of them bring the clay, some of them clean the clay, another polish the pot, another fire the pot. In some families, all the family collaborate.
Yeah. With you and Laura, is there one person who forms the pot more often than the other?
Yeah, me and
Okay.
my mom. Yeah, Laura is more dedicated to paint
Mm.
because it takes her a lot of time.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
for the new shapes, my mother and me.
Nice.
Yeah. And now my daughter Paula
Yeah.
is 21 years old, but she started making pots when she was 5, and she do the shapes and she paint.
Nice. That's great. Is she planning on being an artist as well?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, she's already started. She's already going.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She's doing. She like photography, and she like also the fitness.
Sure, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. In your family, I'm sure that's important. Um, as a working artist, as a professional artist, um, what do you find most difficult about being an artist?
Well, I think for when you are in the level of artist, you have a big compromise. Like for us, when we do shows in the US or Mexico or another country, I think we have a big responsibility
Mm.
promoting the art, promoting the town, the potters. So when you are a professional, you have a big responsibility to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you kind of get prepared for that? Or do you get stressed out about that? Or is there a way that you're able to kind of approach those different responsibilities that you have that makes it possible for you to approach it without stress?
Sometimes, sometimes we have some stress, but we love what we do.
Yeah,
So when you love what you do is not really a work.
yeah. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. But you know, sometimes when you have a commission pot that you need to finish and some some like that, a little bit of stress, or when a pot broken and you need to make it again, and the collector is waiting for that pot. So
Yeah. How often do you have accidents like that? I would assume that with the firing process and forming these pots, I'm sure that happens occasionally, but how often does something like that happen?
yeah, maybe in the fire or when you are working in the pot, maybe 2 in 10
Okay.
broken. Yeah.
Okay. I thought these three pots that we're looking at now were very interesting together, because they're all similar and yet each one is also different from each other. And I wanted to ask you about that, about each being very unique. Could you tell me a little bit more about that, even with similar forms, how you kind of make things unique?
Yeah, like you can see in these ones, the shape is more or less the same,
Hmm.
but I want to try to do it like little different colors or combination with the colors, and I also start to incorporate a stone. It's a turquoise
Yeah.
stone in some of my pieces.
Yeah, and we see that in other pieces as well. And I notice here too, even in the design, there's little changes in the painted design as well.
Yeah, yeah. I try to to incorporate like a new colors also,
Mm,
or combination of the colors. And sometimes, sometimes the collectors, they commission a pot and they say, "Oh, I want a pot like this." So you can do it, but not never the same.
mm.
Can be similar, but never will be the same.
So each is very individual.
Yeah.
Is that something that's difficult to balance between the commissions and then the pieces that you're doing just for yourself?
Yeah, sometimes, because sometimes you have some commissions, but you also have an idea in your mind
Hmm.
to find the time to make that idea. So sometimes I just say, okay, commissions, wait. I
Mm,
need to do idea.
yeah.
If not, if you are only working in commissions, you will never have time to do your ideas. So sometimes you need to stop the commission and make your ideas.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
think,
So that
yeah, I think that make the difference in be only a potter or be an artist, because
mm,
maybe if you are only a potter, you can make like many pots the same, because you
mm,
are selling. But if you want to be an artist, you need make your own ideas, make something different, and innovate.
yeah.
Innovation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, we see you doing that throughout the pieces that we've looked at today. And I've come to these large spheres now that we have on the screen that I want to ask you about these. Can you tell us a little bit more about what these are?
Yeah, this is made by fiberglass. This is not clay,
Okay.
but this is a big project that we made with the Chihuahua state government last year.
Mm,
They make us the the proposal for the project. So we decide to make it, and this is the big project that we made for now.
that's great.
So
What was it like to translate your designs to this large of a scale?
was very difficult. We don't have an idea to do it. We finally we finally do it. This go to the Cinco de Mayo in Chicago for the festivities in Chicago in
Okay.
the Navy last year. But it's a big project. And now these are an exhibition in Chihuahua City.
Oh, these are on exhibition right now.
Yeah,
Great, great. Yeah, I saw that they had traveled to Chicago, but I wasn't sure where they were now.
yeah. Now here in Chihuahua.
That's great. How long did they take you?
This take us more than a month working every
Okay.
day.
Wow. Um, and I should actually, as we're thinking about these very large things, which I'm sure you had to use some athletic skill actually here to work on these. I wanted to ask you, I mentioned in the introduction that you're an athlete as well. Um, is there anything about your athletic career that overlaps with your artistic career?
No, I think this go one with the other, because what I do is art, but also the bodybuilding is a kind of art in your
Mm,
body. Yeah, you are shaping but your own body.
yeah.
But it's maybe not many make art and sport, but for me is okay, no problem. I try to do a balance between
Yeah.
the sport.
It's interesting because I think both probably require a lot of control of the body, both in bodybuilding, but also in your artwork. I'm sure there's a lot of control that you need to have just as you're creating those pieces. So there's a very interesting combination. I think it's an interesting balance.
Yeah, you need a lot of control in your mind.
That too, yeah. You've received a lot of awards and recognition for your work. Is there one accomplishment that you're most proud of?
Yeah, the when I won the best of show in 2015,
Mm.
it was the first time that I won a best of show, and this take me like 17 years to win that
Wow.
prize. And the
And
and also that day was the 50th anniversary of Juan Quesada
hmm,
Day. So this was very nice for me.
and was that at the competition in Mata Ortiz?
Yeah, we have a Mata Ortiz. Eh, yeah, we have two big prizes. We call Galardon and Excelencia, the two best of shows.
Hmm.
I in 2015 I won the Galardon, but I also won the Excelencia like 2020 more or less.
Okay, that's great. And what piece did you win with?
It's a big piece. This piece won the best of show here in Mata Ortiz, but also won a big prize in Oaxaca.
Okay.
Another competition they call the Big Masters of Mexico, and in this competition only can participate the winners of each state in Mexico. So you need
Oh,
to
wow.
win to the winners.
So it's the best of the best.
Yeah, and that bot won also two big prizes. The bot is
That-
now in California in a private collection.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Um, we've talked about innovation as we've gone along. We've talked about some of that. And I know that today the ceramicists in Mata Ortiz are continually experimenting, creating new interpretations and styles. Um, for you, what are the ways that you see yourself innovating? What are kind of the strongest things that you see as innovations in your work?
I think you need to you need to have the quality. I think
Mm,
the quality is very important, and still innovating in designs or shapes.
mm,
Need to do it with quality.
mm,
Maybe I don't know how many more years I can do good quality.
mm,
Your eyes, and we are getting older and all that.
mm.
I think we will try to do the best we can do always, the best quality that we can do.
That's great. Um, Something that I noticed going through in some of the different images are the bases that you have on some of these pots that they're resting on. That even those are art as well. Um,
Yeah,
is when did you start doing that? Is that something that you've been thinking about a lot and doing in your work?
yeah, I started doing the bases maybe 5 years ago. My wife Laura, she was making a basis, but like a just more the normal basis, like a ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one day the base was a plate, but the plate
Okay.
broke. So the plate broken, and I said, "Oh, what I can do with that plate?" So I start thinking, and I say, "Okay, I can make a cut here, then I can make the hole and just turn the plate and put the pot on the plate." and the idea came from an accident.
Hmm. So cool. Yeah, and we're seeing it in multiple different pieces, along with the stone, as you mentioned before, that incorporation of the stone.
This is a dark clay with a white paint, and the turquoise stone in the center.
Is there a certain clay that you work with most often?
Yeah, we work more with a white clay. This is
Okay.
what we do forever, and Laura and me. But I start working a little bit with the dark clay.
Hmm. Is one easier than the other to work with?
The white clay is I think is the most difficult clay to work.
Yeah.
But the dark clay is very dirty.
Mm.
Es sucio, sí.
As you're thinking about the future of Mata Ortiz, and I know you mentioned your daughter is an artist as well, is working on her own pottery. Um, is there a direction that you see the community and the artists moving? Do you have kind of a vision of Mata Ortiz of the future?
But right now it's difficult
Hmm.
to see when during the pandemic, many of the potters they need to leave, they need to go to find different work, and they don't come back. It's difficult because they need to find different works, and about the young potters, the third generation or fourth generation is a very few are interested. They are now like looking for different works. They are studying in another city.
Hmm.
So very few potters of the third and fourth generation now. I am a little bit worried about this.
Hmm, sure. Yeah, and I remember you telling me before the pandemic, there were around 400 or so potters in Mata Ortiz, and that's gone down now to about 300.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We'll see what happens. We need more promotion like what you are doing. That's very
Well,
important. Promotion
and
and yeah,
yeah, and I've heard, I think I've heard you say this before, the pots themselves are the best promotion that the community can have, is just having people see this work, is promotion in itself. Um, Thinking about Mata Ortiz, is there something that you want people to know? Is there a most important thing that you wish people would know about Mata Ortiz?
yeah. We want the people know that we're still here.
Mhm.
And the ceramic that we make is very unique in the world because the history, because the location, the geography, for the techniques, and we are the only town in north of Mexico that make pottery.
Mm.
And now many people, many books, many news, they consider Mata Ortiz pottery like one of the best in the world.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Is there something that you think people get wrong about Mata Ortiz, or is there something that people misunderstand about the pottery or about the community?
Yeah, maybe many people think that we make only like commercial pots,
Mm.
but many of the potters they are in the level of artists. This is not only pottery. This is
Hmm.
art. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us about the two works that we're seeing here on the screen, about these artworks?
Yeah. Okay, this is the woman pot, and I make this one for the International Day of the Woman in March.
Hmm,
This pot in honor to the women around the world. And
lovely.
this I think this shape I made in probably 10 years ago. I started making this shape, and many of the collectors describe this like a very female pot.
Sure. I could see that. Yeah. And this piece, I had wondered about this one as well, if you don't mind sharing about this piece as well.
Yeah, this is a plate. I make also the base, and this came more or less the inspiration in the mandalas.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do my own mandalas. So this is the result.
That's great. Um, with the kind of traditional designs, are there certain traditional designs that you find yourself incorporating?
Yeah, sometimes I incorporate traditional design, but in a small version.
Sure, sure. Are there certain motifs that are most appealing to you?
Yeah, like the guacamaya. You know what is the guacamaya? The cow from Pakime.
Okay, yeah. Is that kind of a bird form?
Sometimes the snake,
Mm-hmm.
and so the T-door of Pakime. Something like a very representative of Pakime culture.
Okay. But incorporated in your own kind of unique way.
Yeah, in my own pot.
Yeah. So, what is next for you?
What is next for me? A lot of work. We're still making like the fairs. This we make like a special commission for a businessman in Chihuahua.
Hmm,
We are making we have a commission of 10 small version, and we have some pottery shows coming in the end of the year.
great.
We are, right now we are working in another big project with the government of Chihuahua State. Then we will let them know soon, but will be a very nice big project also. I think it's the first time that somebody makes something like that here in Mata Ortiz. Will
Ooh,
be
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah. We think we will work in this maybe for the next 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
It's something very nice. Also, we have the invitation from the ambassador from Mexico in Jordania
Mm-hmm.
to do a show in that country, but we'll see what happens because there's many problems right now over there. So we'll see. And we have many, thanks God, we have many commission spots also.
That's great. So you're very busy.
Yeah.
And you have a gallery as well, right, in Mata Ortiz?
Yeah, we have a small place here in your house. We actually call the Casa Galería
Mm-hmm.
Laura Hector because it's here in our house. We have a small place and we have many pots from different potters also.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Okay. Well, anything else that you wish I would have asked and I didn't ask you?
I don't know. No, I just want to thank you to you, Julia, to the museum to do this, to show the pot to the people, And I want to say thanks to my parents. I want to say thanks to Juan Quesada for doing what he do, to Spencer McCallum. And I want to invite the people to visit the exhibition.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Um, and I'm so appreciative of you taking the time to do this and for so patiently answering my questions. I so appreciate that. And now I think we'll see if there are any questions from the audience as well. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second and make it possible for people to unmute themselves and start video if they'd like. Okay. Are there any questions for Hector? I'll pull the PowerPoint back up in case we need some visuals. But any questions?
I have a question. This is Anne.
Hello.
Hi, Anne.
Hi. So Hector, I'm wondering about the colors you use. Do you like make the colors from that you paint on to your ceramics yourself, or do you buy them someplace? How do you go about that?
Yeah, no, we make our own colors. These are all pigments and minerals, and these are from here, from the area. Like for the paint is a manganese, for the red paint is a copper oxide, and different
Okay.
copper oxide for different colors. So then we can mix the colors and we make another colors. Like for the white color is a white clay,
Okay.
different colors to make more colors.
So they're all from minerals. Do you have any that you use from plants? Any colors that you make from plants?
No, only minerals
Only
because
minerals.
yeah, we
Okay.
fired. Remember, we fired the pot. So if we use plants, maybe it's gone. So
Oh, the true.
yeah,
And then can you tell us again what type of clay it is in your area?
we have many different colors of clay, but the clay that I use is a white clay. Is the natural color of the clay,
Oh,
but with colors. I think we are blessed also because we have many colors here in the area.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
I believe you have a red clay locally, sort of a gray clay that fires yellow, and then a white clay, right?
Yeah,
That's what he uses.
That's amazing.
brown, we have white, we have one kind of purple, green, many, maybe like 10 different colors, yellow.
Mm.
So I have another question. When you use those clays that have the color in them, how does that affect the color when you actually paint it on your vase? Does it actually stay on the top? Because you said you only fire it once. So that's why I'm wondering, does the color absorb and then give you a different result, like on a green clay versus a white clay?
Yeah, sometimes, but it happens when you fire the pot. This kind of change a little bit the color during the fire.
And the
So the color,
sorry.
no, go ahead. I was just going to say, so the color might change a little bit during the firing.
The fire.
Okay.
For I don't know, I think you have some black pots in the exhibition,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
we do.
yeah, this is in the picture is dark clay, but the really really black pots, this is no, it's not black clay. It's the process of the fire, and it's an oxygen reduction fire. So the smoke turn black the clay.
So in this photo, the pots on the right, the black pots there, those are blackware. So that's what Hector's talking about there, that those are actually made not with a black clay, but rather during the firing process, that's what creates the black color on the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other questions? I'll go through. Any other questions?
Could you talk a little bit about your firing process? This is
Oh, yeah.
Sharon.
Well, for the black pots, we fire with oxygen reduction, and we use wood. We use wood to do that. And now for the color pots, we also are using a electric kiln.
Mm.
We are firing in the traditional and electric now because we was having ecologic problems.
Mm.
So now we need to use the electric also a little bit.
I had wondered about that too, actually, because I had been reading about the traditional outdoor firings, using something like a bucket or something like that overturned over the pots and then kind of piling up the fuel around it. So it's interesting that the electric kiln is being used now too.
Yeah. And maybe during the last 15 years, 20 years, we are using electric also.
Is there a difference then between a traditional firing versus the electric kiln?
No, but the electric help because it's a less risk
Mm.
than the traditional. In the traditional, maybe if you fire 10 pots, maybe 5 broken. In the electric, maybe only 2.
That makes sense. Other questions? Oh, and let me see. I think we have a chat. Oh, a message from Camilla. She says, "Thank you, Hector. Your pots are spectacular, very beautiful."
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
This is Jeannie, Juanita, and
Hello,
I am a big fan of Hector and family. And in looking at and Julia,
Yes.
really enjoyed your interview. As you're flipping through these images, Hector, tell them about, how you slip the pieces to where you know that you're going to be carving off the color, and also inside your pieces. And the other thing, if Hector can get his hands on a piece of his pottery, and we can listen to how the pots sing. It's so impressive with the sound. And there's a difference with the quality that he makes with the thickness of the pots compared to perhaps other types of ceramics. Okay, Hector?
Huh? Yeah, what we use for the sleep, we use only like ¿cómo se dice? Like this. We put a little paint and cover the pot with the paint. So when you're ready to start carving, I use a needle to do the carving.
And of course, he's working on, is that a piece that you're working on right now?
Yep.
So if he were to tap that, you hear a different sound than when it's fired.
Oh yeah, this is not fire. So when it's fire, sound like a glass.
Mm.
It's not fire. Let me show you one is fire. This is fire. Can you hear?
Oh, we can't. No.
It's not picking up the sound, unfortunately.
Maybe Julia can make it sing.
I unfortunately don't have one with me right now.
Oh, okay.
This is Sharon again, and with the heartbreaking rate of failure of the pots in the firing, I think it's exciting that you're moving to fiberglass. And are there other materials that you would like to experiment with?
Oh yeah, but you know the fiberglass we only used to do the big fair. But this is we don't use to do pottery.
Right.
Only for that because it's
Can
too
that-
big. So we only for that. This is unique.
And can that fiberglass piece be outdoors?
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's fabulous.
Yeah, this is something new, something different.
This is Juanita again. The jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can explain how that came about.
Oh yeah, let me show you.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have any images of the jewelry other than
It is these are earrings. So what we do is when a pot broken in the fire like this. So in the years ago, this was trash because broken, so put in the trash. But now we are working with a man from Tasco, Guerrero in Mexico. So we cut the pot, a piece of clay, and we put in a silver. You can also put a stone, and you have a earrings.
That's great. What a good idea.
Yeah. And we do also rings and everything. So you don't lose now the broken piece. You can do something with that.
That's great. Okay, any final question before we finish up here? All right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing. I want to say again, thank you so much to Hector for taking the time to do this, for answering these questions so beautifully, and for sharing your work with us. It's such a pleasure to spend time looking at your work and especially to hear you talk about it as well. So I'm just so grateful to you for doing this tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you as well to the audience here too for joining us. I hope that you'll check out the exhibition at the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art, and also check out Hector's website. Spend some more time with his artwork there as well. So make sure you look him up and check him out. Thank you so much again, Hector, and everyone here tonight too.